any other ways that you make the most of that kind of precious in-person lab time for both the staff and the students?
Yes, so there's a couple of things. One of the main things that's worked out really well recently is there's a lot of student anxiety around going into the lab, perhaps whether it's for the first time or in general. There's a lot of anxiety around breaking equipment, which isn't something I've necessarily considered before. So I've incorporated some anonymous submissions online so they can submit their comments and thoughts and feelings before the lab. So, for example, is there anything that you're particularly worried about in this lab? Is there anything you don't understand? And that allows the students that aren't necessarily as confident to put their ideas forward without feeling like they're putting their hand up and everyone's looking at them kind of thing. So we can identify these issues ahead of the lab time so that we're not thinking about it while the lab's actually on. We can also identify any gaps in the knowledge that perhaps we need to fill in before we go into the lab. They get their protocols well in advance, which is also really helpful for students who perhaps have learning difficulties and need to read through that protocol in advance, and again, reducing that anxiety. Yeah, I said to one of my students, it was today actually, so something went a bit wrong. And I was like, well, things happen that are wrong all the time. That's just part of science. So reassuring them that that's actually a normal thing, but we don't panic. Here's how we deal with it. So particularly in cell culture, for example, if they spill something, I'm like, okay, if we panic, then things are going to go really wrong. So we're going to slow down, we're going to clean up the mess and then carry on.
Yeah, so we use also smart worksheets during the lab. The advantages, of course, that each student could go in their own pace and just complete the data and receive immediate feedback if they are in the right direction, or maybe they should look at the calculations and redo that, or if they're stuck, they can raise their hand and staff can come to them and help them, which was very useful because there were different kind of levels, so that releases a lot of pressure. So smart worksheets definitely an advantage when you have large groups and everyone works in different pace.